Alan Alva, welcome to Whitstable Sessions. Lovely to see you here. First of all, we've got North Wales and we've got the American South. I mean, how did the two of you get together?
Well, I went over to Nashville in 2012 and made an album.
Yep.
And when I was there, I did what most songwriters do in Nashville, and I did the rounds of songwriting intently for 3 days, where you write with about 3 different people in a day. And one of the people I wrote with was a guy called Matthew Perryman Jones. And then about a year after I came back from Nashville, he was coming across to the UK to do some shows, and Alva was singing with him at the time. And so when I went to see them perform in London, we got chatting, and I soon realised that Alva was living here with her husband in London. So I said, shall we do some writing? Well, I think first of all I invited her to a show, and then we penciled in some writing sessions. And
that was 3 years ago, yeah.
All right. So, although you brought up thousands of miles apart, initially did you find musically you had things in common, and that was a good starting point?
Yeah, I think that we both grew up singing, and that music was a big part of our upbringing. Being from South Mississippi, I grew up singing in church and harmonizing, and music was always playing. And I think, Al, you had a similar experience. Everybody can sing in Wales, right?
Definitely, it's part of our DNA.
Well, you were originally from Mississippi, and then you moved to Nashville. What prompted the move over to this country then?
Well, my husband got the opportunity to do a PhD in London, and now he's still studying here, and will be starting work back in London in a few months. And so thankfully he's been my ticket to stay in the UK, which is great, because now I have a few more reasons to stay myself, so it's good.
And Al, you were born and brought up in Wales, and you also record albums in both English and in Welsh. Is the Welsh language music scene quite a healthy one?
It is. It's. I don't think a lot of people realise how much of a living language it is. It's, for me growing up, it's part of day-to-day life. So when people looked at me quite bemusedly when I told them that I sing, not only do I sing in Welsh, but I did all my school exams in Welsh, and everything I did in my life up until 18 was through the medium of Welsh. So singing in Welsh was just an extension of that, really. And I'm slowly trying to teach Alva a few words so that maybe she can make a guest appearance.
If we could just sing Bore da Nosta over and over again. Good morning, good night.
In terms of songwriting, though, do you find that because you've recorded in English, you've recorded in Welsh, does the language sort of like reflect in the way that you approach songwriting? Because something like Welsh is a very melodic and in terms of its words, quite a rhythmic language. Does that affect your writing, do you think?
Yeah, I think funnily enough, I was talking to Alva about this the other day, might set myself a challenge of trying to write a song and maybe have a Welsh version and an English version, and see how they fit, and whether thematically you can talk about the same things and it still translate with 2 different languages like that, because they are, like you said, they're quite different, English and Welsh, but I enjoy singing in both. Yeah.
Well, you've released a few EPs, and then last year came the album Ghost, your debut album as a duo. When you started work on that album, was it with a complete blank canvas, or did you already have some songs in the pipeline that you knew would form the backbone of the record?
I think the EP process was really important for us because it let us find our feet, musically and as writers. And so a couple of the songs that we wrote along the way, we decided to re-record and rearrange for the album. And then alongside that, we just kept writing songs and building up an arsenal of probably it's about 20 songs that we had written for the album. And so we picked the ones that we thought best reflected us and was a good sort of story of our debut and the story of Lewis and Leigh.
And Ghost was produced by Matt Ingram, who, as a musician, I know from the Staves and Laura Marling and Fife Dangerfield. Why did you choose him? Was it sort of like your paths had crossed before, or you'd heard something of his?
To be honest, it was a serendipitous moment, because our drummer had mentioned to us that there was this studio in London that he'd heard about called Urchin Studios, and that we should check it out. And so for that first recording session, we had no expectation of Matt or the place. We were just trying it out, and everything that we've sort of done since then has been sort of by chance and sort of just feeling our way in the dark, really. And finding Matt was just one of those lovely, lucky moments for us.
Yeah, and so he was there from the very first recording that we ever did, just as an engineer, and in every EP he was with us from the beginning. And so when it became time to make the album, we wanted him to extend his role as engineer and also produce it, and we couldn't have been happier with the result.
Well, one thing I love about Ghost and about your music in general is sort of like the warmth and the closeness of the vocal. You feel as if you're actually in the room with me as a listener. Was that something that you aim for in your recordings?
Definitely. I think we, as musicians, probably spent far too much time talking about how we wanted the album to sound. And one of the things we did want to convey was the importance of what we were saying, because you can get a lot of albums and the vocals are drenched in reverb and you don't really hear the words, and so we wanted to go the complete opposite to that and make the vocals front and centre so that you knew what we were talking about.
Well, the one thing I find with listening through to Ghost is the fact that warmth of sound does focus the mind on the lyrics, which you've got a beautiful, warm, comfortable sound, but sometimes a slightly darker storyline going on underneath it. So there's this push and pull going on. How would you describe the overall feel of Ghost lyrically?
Yeah, I think it does have some darkness, but also some hope. I mean, when we named it Ghost, it was about sort of memories and people that we had lost, as well as sort of dreams that maybe were unfulfilled that haunted us. So it's certainly filled with longing and loss, and so there's that darkness. But I think with grief also comes hope and clarity, and so I think there's a bit of that as well.
Well, that certainly resonated with the UK Americana market, because you're here almost fresh off the back of the 419 in the album, winning you awards at the UK Americana. How is that?
Amazing to just know that people have taken the time and decided that we were worthy of being called Best Album is very humbling. And we were, stood at the side of the stage just assuming that we were going to be performing, and then, lo and behold, the guitar technician grabs my guitar because we have to then go on stage to accept the award for Best Album from Imelda May. And it was just all very surreal, but wonderful.
Yeah, a moment I'll never forget.
Yeah. Well, you've certainly fallen into a lovely way of working now, but what do you think that you've gained from working with the other person in terms of your own songwriting or your own performance?
I would say that Al has helped me not be such a perfectionist. I'm very detail-oriented and can kind of really dwell over the small stuff, and Al's helped me sort of realize when I'm worrying and thinking too hard about something small, and that I need to accept that something is good and just move on.
And probably the ironic thing for me is that maybe Alva has what she might deem as a weakness, I see as her strength, and in that she has made me realise that sometimes moments do require a bit more thought, and so to linger perhaps sometimes is a good thing. And I think working with someone on a song enables you to be even more of a harsh critic, because you're not only criticising yourself, you're criticising a joint body of work. So you can both strive for a higher level of songwriting, and I think working with Alva, I've definitely been able to improve on my songwriting.
You've picked up a lot of radio support. You're gaining admirers with each of the gigs that you do. You've already got some awards under your belt. What comes next?
More songs.
Yeah. We're very excited about album 2, and we feel like we're growing. I know it sounds like such a cliche to say growing musically, but we would hate to make Ghost Mark 2. I don't think either of us would want to do that. So yeah, we're just excited about the future, I think.
Definitely.
Well, we're really pleased to see you here at Whitstable today, and hope when the next album comes out, or even before that we'll see you back here at the sessions again. Thanks very much.
Thanks for having us.